morning, and welcome to another edition of Young People's Report. I'm Amanda Rodriguez.
And I'm Trevor Verges. This morning, we'll go to a classroom where one of the students has 4 legs and barks. We'll meet a group of kids who are actively competing with their bikes. And we'll visit one of Michigan's newest attractions that you won't want to miss.
But first, we're here at Crossroads Village, waiting to board the Genesee Belle. There are a lot of things to do and see here at Crossroads, and Ivana Williams checked it all out and filed this report.
Just north of the busy city of Flint, you will find a place where life is much simpler, where technology is driven by paddle and steam and history truly comes to life.
Crossroads Village is a recreated 1860 to 1880 era village, which represents what would have been a very typical village of this region of Michigan.
This is Crossroads Village, where you will find over 30 historical structures and a new discovery through every door. This is the house that started it all, the Buzzell House. Built in 1854, is the oldest surviving home in Flint. In the 1960s, the house faced demolition to make way for the freeways. But the Genesee County Parks and Recreation Commission came to its rescue and relocated the home here, starting what we now know as Crossroads Village.
There are 5 bedrooms in the home, 2 bedrooms up and 3 down. And the bedroom off of the parlor would have been a guest bedroom, and your school teacher would have stayed in that bedroom. We have the wood stove instead of the gas range that we have today. We also have a wood box in our kitchen. We have a cabinet that we keep our flour in.
Just around the corner from the Buzzell House, you will find a barn that played a role in Flint's automotive history.
Well, the Wisner Carriage Barn behind me is one of the original buildings that created the village, and it has a interesting history in that it happens to be the building in which the first automobile in Genesee County was manufactured, and that was the Wisner Buzzwagon, I believe it was called.
Across the street, you will find a beautiful Victorian gazebo, and this building, which usually has the sweet smell of apples surrounding it. Once through the doors, you can watch and see how cider has been made in this building since 1885.
This particular cider mill is really special because it's a historic in it. A lot of the woodworking is all original. The press is original, and the cider that we offer is made the same way as we did back in 1800s.
On a day like today, a cold glass of cider sounds like a pretty good idea. But since most of these buildings are from before refrigerators, you'd have to visit another building to find out how people kept cider and other things cold. This is the Ice House. It was moved to the village from a farm near Holland. It's called the Ice House for a good reason. It was used to store ice. The walls of this building are insulated with more than 12 inches of sawdust. That insulation would keep out the heat so that the ice wouldn't melt in the hot summer months. If you head down Coldwater Road past the Crossroads Lumber Company and the chapel, you will come up to an area where fun can be had by all. Here you will find a beautiful carousel and Ferris wheel along with a few other attractions.
Carousel was built at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas in 1912. Special about it is that it's all hand-carved wooden horses and real horses' tails, and they're called jumping horses. They're the last of its kind in this country. Ferris wheel history is in 1910, made also in Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. Well, it's one of its kind. It's all enclosed cages.
I guess even here you can't get away from learning, since the village comes complete with its own schoolhouse. This is the Stanley School. It was originally located on Bray Road and was used by students from 1883 until 1963. Like most schools of its time, it only had one room. Before the days of automobiles and manufactured goods, the blacksmith played an important role in every town. Here at Crossroads Village, you can check out a working shop.
Well, the building is what you would typically found about 1870s. You didn't want to build too elaborate of a building in case of a fire. You turn the crank handle, forces the air through the bottom of the forge up through into the coals. And being anthracite coal, the air makes the coal hotter, which the intense heat from the coal transfers to the iron, making it hotter. And you work your iron at an orange to yellow heat. After you get it that hot, you hit on the anvil to form your various shapes. And that's basically how you quickly get a little window latch hook.
So let's see. The village has some homes, a church, some businesses, a school, and to be complete, it also has a doctor's office, where you can see what medical care was like in the 1880s.
So he would check you over and find out what your problem was, and then he would use some kind of an herb. He'd prescribe some kind of an herb, and the herb medicine he would have made himself right here in the corner. You can see the area that he would have worked in. He would have put together his medications as he needed them. There's one kid over here, Father Barber, was 17 years old in the Civil War, and he was like a medic's helper. So when somebody got gangrene, they had to cut off their arm or their leg right out there. So they would use a kit like that, and that was his to carry. When they weighed people, they would weigh him on something like that. He didn't have an actual scale. You sat in a chair, and they weighed by stones. A stone was worth 14 pounds.
A lot of the buildings here are related to agriculture. No big surprise since most families in the 1800s lived on farms. A very active place around harvest time was the local mill.
The mill came from a little town of Atlas that's about 20 miles southeast of here. It was first built in 1836, 1 year before Michigan became a state. The mill is powered by what we call a water turbine. It's a little different than what a lot of people think of a grist mill. They think of a mill as a big water wheel. The reason why we use a turbine, which is underwater about 6 foot, is because this is Michigan. And where this mill used to be over in Atlas, it ran 12 months out of the year. Where water wheels don't work very good here in January and February.
In the 1800s, before the big population boom, the community spread out in vast amounts of land. And with the lack of buildings in developing areas, some buildings had more than one use. This is the Horton Coel building. It was moved to the village from its original location in Flint. Residents would gather here for more than just one reason. On the first floor, people could go to the post office to send and receive their mail. But on the second floor, people would gather together to enjoy a show at the Opera House. By now, you're probably thinking that this place sounds like it might be a cool place to visit, but you haven't seen it all yet. In addition to the buildings we've visited, you will find a barber shop, a store, a meeting hall, and quite a few other buildings. But there's still more. Crossroads Village is home to the Huckleberry Railroad and the Genesee Bell.
The Huckleberry Railroad was formed in 1976. It started off as the original line of the Pierre Marquette Railroad. That's 1920 Baldwin. It's probably the one and only in Michigan running today.
Well, the Genesee Bell is a paddle wheel boat that sails on Mott Lake. It would have been something that you would have seen more on rivers than on lakes.
The buildings and history provide a lot of fun and interest, but some of the best experiences come from interacting with the villagers.
Oh, watch that now.
Throughout the years, the village hosts many seasonal activities that are fun for the whole family. Here you can spend a day experiencing the sights and sounds of life in the 1800s. From Crossroads Village in Flint, I'm Ivana Williams reporting for YPR.
We have to take a break, but when we come back, we'll take a look at a sport that has kids pedaling their way to victory.
Don't go away. There's much more to come on YPR. This time of year, a lot of kids will be riding the sidewalks and streets on their bikes. But a group of local kids have taken it to the next level and are riding on the race course. Mathew Matonich checked out this growing sport and has our story.
Okay, riders, let's set them up. Riders ready. Watch the gate.
If you're too young for motocross, why don't you try your skills on one of the area's fastest-paced sports? BMX Racing may be the thing for you.
This is our 13th racing season here at Richfield Park, BMX. We've been involved myself here for 8 years. Our average rider count 8 years ago was around 43 riders a race. We're averaging nearly 300 riders a race now. The parents have to be actively involved with their children. And it's a one-on-one sport. It's them, their bicycle, the finish line. It's not like a team sport where you have multiple players involved. People come in from all over the state, Ohio, Indiana, Canada, specifically to race at this park.
I like the speed and going over the jumps. It's really, really fun. And the competition. A lot of the better kids that are experienced, they're hard to beat.
There's a lot of like fast kids that you have to race and they give you a run for your money. The most challenging part is when you're practicing, you have to race older people that you're not used to racing.
Any age can race. We have them as young as 3 years old out here and as old as 60. And we group them up according to their proficiency levels. We're a little different than a lot of the tracks around the country in the fact that no one gets paid to be here. It's a very fun atmosphere to be involved. And people all over the country, we have held national competition here. People all over the country know where this track is and how friendly the people here in Michigan are.
It started out with some kids, and a vacant lot has grown into a sport that has over 60,000 people swarming on tracks like this one every weekend. At Ridgefield Park BMX, I'm Mathew Matonich, reporting for YPR.
In BMX racing, or any sport, fans are a big part of the event. A group of local girls got organized and went from being fans in the crowd to cheering on the sidelines. Patricia Ford spent some time with them and filed this report.
SPIRT spirit, let's hear it, go!
Miss Holland, she's a good cheerleading teacher. She's fun, she's funny, and she's exciting.
She's a wonderful cheerleading teacher. She's been there for us when we supposed to be sharp, because when we first got here, we didn't know anything.
The most important thing about it is just keeping them off the streets and giving them something positive to do. They're in front of people. It's great for their self-esteem, and I just think that overall it's going to improve their education in the long run.
We started out, I just set forth, the rules and expectations that I had. I think I've even lessened up just a little bit because I have so much fun with them too. And I see that their confidence is building and they feel like they're wonderful, and that's what I want to try to instill in them. It doesn't matter where they're from. Every kid has a drive to learn and can be motivated, and this does it for these kids here. So I love it. It's great.
From Saginaw, I'm Patrice Ford, reporting for YPR. We have to take another break, but when we come back, we'll visit one of Michigan's newest attractions.
Don't go away. There's much more to come on YPR.
Michigan is home to many attractions like amusement parks and museums. Laura and Rozyla visited one of the newest tourist stops and filed this report.
It's Saturday morning, and if you're like most kids, including myself, you're probably watching YPR while eating your favorite breakfast cereal. But this isn't a story about kids eating cereal. It's about a place where you can experience it. Come on, I'll show you. Here we are. This is Kelloggs Cereal City, USA. It's a place that's completely themed around cereal. There are tons of attractions and things to do, and if we're going to see them all, we better get going. Come on! Cereal City is like walking through a big cartoon. It's set in a streetscape full of fun, interactive exhibits. As guests travel down the street, they'll discover many interesting attractions that you can really get caught up in. The best place to start is probably in the past. The Cereal Bowl of America time travels guests through the history of Battle Creek, home of the Kelloggs Company.
Well, there's a lot of history when it comes to cereal. The Kellogg brothers and Dr. Kellogg's wife, Ella, They were always experimenting with different kinds of vegetarian types of foods for the Battle Creek Sanitarium. And one night they made some dough out of wheat, actually, and they forgot about it and they left it out all night long. Well, they thought, let's just give it a try, see what happens. They put it through these rollers, and then next thing you know, it started to flake. And so they thought, let's toast it up and see what happens. Those were wheat flakes. And then you got corn flakes after that.
After Kellogg's cereal was created, they needed a way to tell people about it. That's where advertising came into the picture.
The Kellogg Company was very innovative. They tried all sorts of different things to get people to notice their products.
Here at A Bowl Full of Dreams, you could take a look at some of the advertising campaigns that influenced the world. The famous Kellogg's ads always portrayed winning personalities, healthy lifestyles, and wholesome messages. And it didn't hurt to have a few famous people appear in your ads. You can also see how Kellogg's has reached all corners of the world with international ads. The cereal boxes themselves have played a big part in advertising, and at Cereal City, you can put your very own face in a box of cereal and become part of the advertising history. But this place isn't just about history. It's also about kids having fun. Throughout Cereal City, you'll find different hands-on exhibits. There's even a play area set up for the little tykes. The Best to You review puts you at a Michigan farmhouse breakfast table from a salt shaker's perspective. Here you'll run into familiar characters like Tony the Tiger, Snap, Crackle, and Pop. The main attractions at Cereal City involve the actual production of cereal. This begins outside the facility with the Fields of Grain and Thresher sculpture, demonstrating where the products that eventually make cereal are harvested. After learning where the ingredients come from, it's time to see how it's done. Here at Cereal City, you will find a full-scale cereal production line that's like the actual equipment used in the Kellogg's plant. Here you can travel through every aspect of cereal production.
In the cooking room, this is the important first step of the process. And it is where the cereal grain, which is called a corn grit, is introduced into the cookers, much like you would cook rice at home on the stove. And then the flaking rolls are two large rollers that squeeze the corn out into a flake. The toasting oven is the place where it brings out the flavor of the cornflake and makes it very crisp.
Here you can have a day of fun exploration and enjoy the sweet smells, sights, and sounds of a real cereal production line. You can even test the newly created Kellogg's cornflakes with a warm serving of your very own. Delicious. From Kellogg's Cereal City, USA in Battle Creek, I'm Lauren Rozyla, reporting for YPR.
Everyone has their favorite snack food, but if you had to be a snack food, what would you be? That's the question we asked a group of students from Plainfield Elementary in our YPR Question of the Week.
If I were snack food, I'd be milk because milk is delicious and has vitamin D, and vitamin D is good for your bones.
I'd have to say I'd be a Dorito because they'd be the main thing at parties.
If I was a snack food, I would want to be a strawberry because it is healthy for you and it tastes good.
If I was a snack food, I would be a lime because I like the tang and green's my favorite color.
I would be a pea because nobody likes peas, so no one would eat me.
We would be a pair of Twinkies because we like the inner creamy filling and the outer crust. And the best things always come in two.
I would be an apple because I like apples, and when I was growing on a tree, it would be cool to look down because I would be so high.
We would be a Twix because it's our favorite candy and there's more than one to share with your friends.
If I was a snack food, I would be water because it is the leading source in every liquid product, and without water, we would not be able to live.
A pear because they're good and healthy. I would be an orange because orange is my favorite color and I like oranges and orange is my hair color.
I would be a pizza because pizza is good and the cheese is cheesy and you can put mozzarella sauce on it.
If we were a snack food, we would be peanut butter and jelly.
Because she likes peanut butter and I like jelly, and they're both good together for a snack food.
If you have a suggestion for Question of the Week or a story idea for YPR, drop us a line. The address is Young People's Report, care of NBC 25, P.O. Box 250, Clio, Michigan 48420. You can also call, send us a fax, or email. You never know, you could be our next story.
We have to take another break, but when we come back, we'll see how a group of YPR reporters helped out a bunch of animals.
Don't go away.
If you're an animal lover, then you should know that there are many animals in our area that need your help. A group of YPR reporters spent today volunteering at the Humane Society of Genesee County. Shane Stikeleather was there and filed this report.
If you're looking to add on to your family with a four-legged friend, you have a few options. You can answer an ad in the paper, visit a local pet shop, or come here to the Humane Society.
The most important reason to get an animal from a Humane Society or an animal shelter is that these are animals that are looking for good homes. These are animals that may have had homes before and don't anymore.
Here, homeless animals can find shelter, medical attention, fresh food, clean water, and some tender care from some real animal lovers. Since the Humane Society doesn't receive any government funds, they rely on the animal lovers in the community to keep this place running. But some also donate a little more.
We have volunteers as young as 5 and as old as in their 70s.
A group of YPR reporters, including myself, decided to volunteer for a day. We did such duties as cleaning cages, grooming the animals, exercising the animals, and we even found some time to play.
It was fun for me because I got to work with animals.
Well, so far I've helped out at the main office and I've walking dogs around the whole facility.
The Humane Society volunteers, they may not be getting enough help, so I think that it's great that they're getting kids involved.
The best thing about working here was working with the animals, seeing the animals being adopted, seeing them go home to nice families.
If you'd like to make a donation, volunteer time, or adopt one of these cute critters, check your local yellow pages for the Humane Society in your area. Or you can call area code 810-744-0511. From the Humane Society of Genesee County in Flint, I'm Shane Stikeleather reporting for YPR.
If you would like to volunteer your time, make a donation, or adopt a new pet, check the yellow pages for the Humane Society in your area.
There are also other ways that you can work with animals. A class at Hemmeter Elementary in Saginaw found their own special way. Jacquelyn Thomas investigated and filed this report.
This may look like a normal classroom, you know, the kind you would see in any school. But if you take a closer look, one of the students is a little different. Of course, you have to look at ground level to see him. This is Hartley. He's a 10-month-old yellow lab who is a future leader dog. He's here at Hemmeter Elementary for the same reason his classmates are, to learn.
He learns what it's like to be loved. They're very, very good with them and how it feels to be taken very good care of. And he's learned how to play with them.
Every day, the students must spend some time caring for Hartley. They brush, walk, and most importantly, play with him.
He learns to sit, down, and stay.
We groom him to keep his fur nice and clean. And then some of us take him out to the bathroom, and some of us go get fresh water every now and then.
They cuddle him. We have a special job for cuddlers. And they help me discipline him too, when he's, for example, if he gets in the trash can or whatever.
Hartley's a very active little puppy with lots of energy. But he's already learned a lot, like what quiet time means.
Sometimes he runs around the classroom like 10 times or something, and then he gets all tired and he lays down and rolls around a lot. I think he's just special. I don't know. I don't really have a reason. He's just a good dog.
Hartley is more than a class mascot. He's an ongoing project. These students play an active role in teaching him the skills he will need. In return, Hartley helps to teach them. Once a week, the class weighs and measures Hartley to keep track of his growth and progress.
The children also have a journal, a puppy journal that they write in, and we try to do that, maybe 2-3 times a day, where they keep track of his habits and anything new that he's done or any place new that he's been, or any problems that they may see.
Just the responsibility of him. We got to take care of him. And I just love him, and everybody loves him, so that's kind of the reason.
Once Hartley has completed his time here at Hemmeter, he will go on to the Leader Dog for the Blind School in Rochester, Michigan, where he will complete his training, and if he graduates, will become a real leader dog. Although the class will miss Hartley when he leaves, they know that he will be moving on to help someone by providing guidance, freedom, and love as a leader dog. From Hemmeter Elementary School in Saginaw, I'm Jacquelyn Thomas reporting for YPR.
That's all the time we have this week. We are going to check out the rest of Crossroads Village. Thanks for joining us.
And have a great week.